Here is a champion, the Sog PowerPint. This is definitely the tool to beat in the mid-pocketable size EDC frame. Now, if we look at Leatherman, a lot of their tools are in the 4-inch frame size. Even when we think about the Rev and the Wingman, some of those, they are very close to that 4-inch frame size. So even though they may be lighter than the Wave, they're pretty much the same length as the Wave. Now, with the Sog PowerPint, we see that it is definitely smaller, coming in somewhere around 3¼ inches long. So this is definitely a little bit shorter than the Wave. Then if we go ahead and weigh the PowerPint, we see that it comes in at 120 grams, or let's go ahead, change this to ounces, and it comes in at 4.3 ounces. So a very light tool. We have this very nice pocket clip. We have the place for the 1/4-inch bit driver at the back. One of the things to really mention is how smooth the pliers are. This is almost a fidget toy because it is very smooth pliers. I really love that. All the tools open on the outside. You've got knives, the reamer, micro screwdriver, you've got a cutter, you've got the file on the one side. On the other side, we have the serrated blade, we've got the can opener, the Phillips screwdriver, we have this bottle cap lifter, and a pair of scissors. Not the best pair of scissors. That's one of the things that lets a PowerPint down a little, but has so many good attributes that I really can't fault it that much. So this is one of the best tools on the market. Now, what are some of the alternatives to the Sog PowerPint? Well, there is the Power Leader. Now, the Power Leader is very close to the PowerPint, almost exactly the same. You get a lot of the tools that we just saw on the PowerPint, but you do get a couple different tools. It does take away the serrated blade. You do get this bottle cap lifter, or the cork tool right here. You also will get this lever at the end right here where you can lock in the bottom of the tools. Then when you use a 1/4-inch bit, this is locked into place. So that's one of my favorite things about this. I don't care about this tool right here at all, but I do like that lever system at the bottom. Now, both these tools can be found on AliExpress for around the $25 to $35 price point. Sometimes even on Amazon, they can be found for around that price point as well. So these are fantastic options for EDC. Now, one more option from Sog, and this will be an option that is built on a Sog that is no longer made. The Sog Sync was a belt buckle plier-based multi-tool. Overseas, they have taken this and they have used this without the belt buckle. Now you can buy this just as a tool itself with the knife, the awl. On this side, the screwdriver, bottle cap lifter, the file, and another screwdriver, this set of pliers. So it's also a very unique option. I definitely wouldn't say this is a keychain option, but it is definitely another option, and the pliers are surprisingly strong for their small size. So this comes in also somewhere around the $15 to $25 price point. AliExpress, their prices vary on who you find it from time to time, but it isn't that expensive. So this next option isn't really an option yet, but I can definitely see if you would take off the wrench of the W2, this becoming a really cool contender to the Sog PowerPint. Now, Nextool hasn't hinted that they would do this yet, but they have a fantastic design with this plier right here. If they would come up with something new, this would be very cool instead of the wrench. Now with the wrench, it makes it over the 4-inch frame size, but if they would just cut this down, maybe make the handles a little bit larger, this is a very good contender against the Sog PowerPint. So this one right here comes in around $30. Again, if they could just get rid of the wrench and keep it at about that same price point, I see this as a very competitive option, but that's a future option, perhaps down the road. But one of the next options to the Sog PowerPint is actually the Gerber Crucial. One of the things I do like about this is that it does come in a minimalist size, about 3.5 inches. Some of its good points are the clip, the pocket clip. It does have this clip as well. I like that the tools lock into place. It's got the knife. It's got your Phillips driver as your flat driver as well. Now there is a version that trades the clip for a safety cutter. Then you do have the cutters or the pliers as well with the wire cutters. So it is a very minimalist option, and I do like that. Let's go ahead and put this on the scales. As long as I'll put the power leader on the scales as well, just to give us a reference point right here. So let's look at ounces. This comes in at 5.3 ounces. Let's change this over to grams, or 149 grams. Take a look at the power leader. This comes in at 129 grams. Take it back over to ounces, 4.6 ounces. So it's about 0.3 ounces heavier than the PowerPint, which isn't that much. So the Gerber Crucial is a good option, but there's just something about it. I feel like it's lacking a little bit in refinement. Some of the tool set seems a little bit blunt, a little bit crude. It's all right, but it's one of those tools where it's not as much a joy to carry as a Sog PowerPint. That may seem silly, but some of you, when you carry a Leatherman, some of your Sog tools, you know what I mean. There are some tools that work, and the Crucial works, but it doesn't give the same joy to carry. Now, that sort of changes when you bring in the Octane. Now, the Octane was discontinued by Gerber. This really shouldn't be on the list, but I wanted to go ahead and mention it because it is a lot lighter of a tool. So let's go ahead and put this on here, and it comes in at only 5.5 ounces, or when we put it over to grams, 154 grams. So this is a very light tool. Now, it does come in around 4 inches long, so some of you could say, well, the Leatherman PST could also be a contender. I know what you mean. But I did want to go ahead just mention that this again is on AliExpress. This has been discontinued by Gerber, but AliExpress has brought this back, so you can go ahead and at least for a limited time buy this. I've seen it on sale for around $30, which is really a good deal. You have the Phillips driver, you've got a smaller flat driver, another flat driver, a package opener as well. You do have a knife right here on the outside. And you have this slide system out the front, plier system. I really do like this tool at $30. I think this is one of the deals on AliExpress that probably you should look into. Now, before we get to the last contender for the Sog PowerPint or against it, I wanted to mention another tool that is almost from Gerber besides the Octane. This is the modded tool that I made. Some of you have asked about the weight of it, so I wanted to go ahead and put this on the scales. I don't think I've actually ever done that, so I'm not even sure how much it weighs. So it does come in at 180 grams, or when we go to ounces, 6.4 ounces. So it is a fairly heavy tool, coming in almost 2 ounces heavier than the PowerPint. So this tool right here is a combination of 2 arm bars together. I did go ahead and I was able to get the bit driver to work right here from the slim drive. You do have the hammer ends at the end. You do have a pocket clip right here. I was able to get the knife to lock into place as well. The bit driver isn't a complete success, but I tightened it enough so it stays into place. Then on the inside, one of my favorite parts is I was able to put a Leatherman rebar plier, and it is very smooth because I was able to fine tune to some extent the tension. Sort of accidentally, I was able to get it very smooth. So very happy with that. Some of you have mentioned be perfect with a pair of scissors. I do have some ideas about how I could do that, but I haven't gotten to that yet. So this was a fun mod. Some of you have said it'd take about $400 to put this together. I found a lot of these tools in my parts bin or very cheap on sale on eBay, so it didn't cost $400. But you are right in that it did take 1, 2, 3, I guess about 4 or more multi-tools sort of junked, stripped down, and put back together in this design. So this is a fun alternative to the PowerPint. I do enjoy carrying this. I really think Gerber should come out with a tool like this, but will they listen to us? Probably not. So while I don't think many of you will go buy a bunch of multi-tools, cobble them together and make this mod, I did want to remind you this is a possibility. You can make your perfect multi-tool because there's so many out there in this world. It could be a very rewarding experience. Now let's jump on to one of the best contenders against the PowerPint. This is the Roxxon M1. This does come in at 4.6 ounces. Let's jump over to grams, only 130 grams. One of the beauties about this is it comes in at only $25 on Roxxon's website. One of the things I love about this is it has a very nice knife right here. So very cool right there, very nice locking knife. One of the other things I really like about it is that it does have spring-loaded pliers. These pliers are just about the perfect size. Very nice right here as well. One of the other things that is very cool about this tool is it has easy to access tools. You have ruler markings on this as well on the outside. You've got tweezers, you've got this Phillips screwdriver, you do have this pair of scissors as well. Now, the rest of the tool gets a little bit wonky. On the outside right here, you do have a pair of, wait for it, fingernail clippers. Now, surprisingly, I find these a lot more useful than I thought they would be. So perhaps Roxxon knows a little bit better than what we usually think, but I do think that will throw some people for a loop. On the inside, the tool handle, just so they can still add some more tools on here, we have some locking micro tools. Very unique. So these actually lock into place, and then they unlock right there. So what do we have right here? Well, we've got a screwdriver, a SIM card ejector, a micro screwdriver, a bottle cap lifter, and this tool of sorts right here on the end. Now, another negative to some extent is that it doesn't come with a pocket clip. I really feel like the Roxxon M1 definitely should have had a pocket clip. I actually added this from the M2. Went okay, but I really feel like that should have been added from the factory. Do get this handy dandy little nail file on the outside. I'll leave that up to you if you think that's a plus or a minus. Overall, it is a fantastic tool. It is a little quirky, but I still think it is definitely worth that $25. Wait for it. Let's go ahead, compare this to the PowerPint. They are pretty comparable. A lot of times I actually do find myself really enjoying putting this in my jeans, carrying this around because it comes in at a very light weight. I do think it's a very valuable tool. So what is a good alternative to the Sog PowerPint? Well, as we've talked about, I think the M1 from Roxxon clearly comes out the winner. I think the Gerber Crucial is in second place. You could say that the Power Leader is definitely the second place. I think they're almost interchangeable. Some will like one, some will like the other because they're so similar. But if you don't want the PowerPint or the Power Leader, then I think the Roxxon M1, the Gerber Crucial, I think even this is a good option from AliExpress, the Octane, W2, all these are great options, or you can make your own. Let me know what you think is the best option. Let me know the experience that you've had. I really enjoy listening to your stories and reading them in the comments below.